crafty fans, it's Sandi here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm playing with something new from Spellbinders. It's called the Felt and Stitch Create, and this is going to be the felt reindeer. I'm going to do this one today, but I am going to do follow-up videos with the other four. I'm just going to quickly show you the dies that are in each set. You'll see there's a bunch of dies here with all the little pieces that you need, and we're going to be cutting these out of felt. And of course you want some DMC cotton that's going to match the felt that you're using. And moving on, we have the pumpkins, and I have started working on those, so those are going to be my next video. And it's a little pumpkin house. I'm doing mine a little bit different, but you'll see that there's a door and a window and some mushrooms, so that's kind of cute. Then we have a star snowman. He is adorable. I can't wait to make him. So he's going to be probably number 3, and we'll be doing him in my Christmas colors. He already has the scarf in the right color. Probably pink gloves, I don't know. And I think I might take some creative license with the candy cane as well, because I don't have red in my Christmas decorations. Okay, so to cut felt, we're going to be using the A, the B. I'm going to put a shim in between the A and the B, and then you're going to do 2 cutting pads. And in some cases, this is not a good time to go cheap on felt. Let me tell you, you want to use a good quality felt. Spellbinders has an excellent one out, and Benzi's Designs also has nice felt. And if you find that you're not getting a good cut, and I've only found this with one piece of felt, and it wasn't from Spellbinders, stick a piece of cardstock underneath of it, and it's just enough to give it the spring to get all those little holes cut, because it's really important that you get all of the little border holes cut, because that's what you're going to be stitching through. And I found that I only had to run this through once, and then take it off and pop them out, and then you're going to use tweezers or something pokey, and you're going to get rid of all of those little dots when you're finished. See what I mean? So they get everywhere. Be prepared to use your Swiffer when you're finished with this. But this is too much fun. The cleanup is nothing compared to how much fun this is. Okay, so you want to cut all your pieces out. There's 2 pieces for the body, 2 pieces for the head. There's a antlers. There's 2 pieces for the ears. The face I'm showing you here has a couple of layers, a muzzle, and then the nose, and then a stitched mouth. I glued the eyes and the nose on. And then these are the front legs. So there's 2 pieces of each, and then you're going to stitch those together. And then you're going to glue on the little hoof over top. And then this is the body, and I've already started stitching him because otherwise this video would be 2 hours long. You put the little tummy on first before you start stitching the 2 pieces together. Okay, and then you want to use a little bit of polyfill, and I mean a tiny little bit. You don't want to overstuff this because felt will tear. And I'm also showing you that you can use quilt batting. You can also cut up your little pieces of leftover felt, and you can use that for stuffing as well. So again, a tiny, tiny little bit. You're just going to pop it down in there very gently, trying not to tear where your stitching is on the side holes. And that's why I've left quite a big opening so that I wasn't putting any pressure on either side, and adding just a tiny little bit before I'm going to stitch this closed. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in because I'm going to show you how we do the stitching. And it's a running stitch. You're going to go up and down every other hole, and that means you're going to go all the way around the piece, and then you're going to start with a new piece of thread and go back all the way around again. And so I'm on my way back. I've left the top open, and that's all right because the head is going to cover it. But I'm just showing you here that I'm going back and forth between every other stitch, and then that finishes out on both sides. You have a nice even stitch going both ways. And so that works for every single piece that you're putting together that has 2 pieces in it. It's a lot of stitching, but I do it in front of the TV. I find it very, very soothing and relaxing. And then all of a sudden you have a whole piece finished while you're watching a good movie. Okay, and you're just slowly going to work your way around. In and out, in and out, in and out. And I used, what was this, 3864 DMC, and I'm stitching with 3 threads. There are 6 threads, so you're going to pull them in half. And unless I tell you otherwise, I use 3 threads on everything. The only thing I can think of that I used 1 thread was for the eyelashes around the eyes. And we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so for the face, I glued on the nose and the eyes, and then I put a white thread stitch through the nose just to hold it in place. Now I'm going to add 2 little white stitches on the eyes just to highlight them, but that also holds it in place for you just in case you didn't quite get enough glue on there. I had to yank on that pretty good. It's hard to go through that glue. And I'm tying these off in the back. And we don't need to worry too much about what the back's going to look like because it's going to be sandwiched in between the 2 pieces. And of course, we'll have a little bit of stuffing in it as well. So trim off your tails. And then I'm just going to quickly add the second stitch into the left eye, leaving a tail to tie off. Get in there and stab it. So the mouth I did in black, 3 strands. And then we're going to get ready and we're going to be stitching this all together. I'm just going to pull that back. I pulled it a little bit tight when I put the knot in, and it made the stitch look a little bit small. Okay, so here's my 1 strand of black, and I'm going to give this little guy some eyelashes. I think it really adds to him. It makes him very adorable, more adorable than he already is. Okay, so you're going to do 3 stitches on each side, starting quite close to the bottom, and then the widest stitch, and then working your way into a medium stitch, and then a small stitch. And then you're going to tie this off on the back, and just knot it up a little bit, or you can run. I quite often run if I don't, I'm behaving myself because I'm on camera. Usually I would just run because it's on the inside. Nobody's ever going to see it anyway, and it's not like it's going to get snagged on anything. Anyway, you're going to repeat it with the other eye, and you're going to add the rest on the other side. Now, I found it easier to do this upside down. Again, leave a tail, and then add your 3 eyelashes. It's amazing how just a few little stitches really brings personality to his face. So I'm making these for my tiered tray. Do you guys have a tiered tray? I've been having a lot of fun building things for my trays. Over on my blog, I share a picture of my tiered tray. Okay, so getting rid of this, doing the knots and tying it off. And we are ready to move on. We are going to put this together. All right, so we need the antlers and we need the ears, and I've glued the white piece to the brown for the ears. Okay, and before we do the head, we're going to attach the arms, the front legs to the body, and I'm just adding a couple of stitches. Okay, and I'm not worrying about the knot because it's going to be covered by the head. So again, just come over to the other side and start your needle through the front of the leg, and then attach it to the body with a couple of stitches, and then you're going to tie it off, and that just secures them. Okay, and the hooves are actually glued on with white glue, just regular white glue. I use the Barely Arts white glue from Spellbinders. I use that glue for pretty much everything. I really like the fine tip on it. And you don't want to use way too much glue because you don't want it seeping through your felt. So just a little happy medium there. This glue is pretty strong. Okay, and you're just going to pop them on like that. If you want, you can stitch them. The pumpkins that I'm working on right now, I ended up doing a blanket stitch around the little handle at the top of the pumpkin, the stem, and it looked really cute when it was done. So try a few of your different embroidery stitches, and you might surprise yourself at how cool it looks. I haven't done embroidery for a long time, and it's been kind of fun to get back into it again. Okay, and the last hoof. And now we're ready to start on the head. There's the body all finished. Okay, so this is the placement for the head. The front, the back. Okay, I'm going to use some binder clips to hold these together. Binder clips are from quilting. I also do a little bit of quilting. and they're great for holding things in place while you're doing some stitching. Okay, and I'm just going to tuck that ear back in there before I add the clip on that side. I'm trying to line up the holes. It's not really essential that you line up the holes on the ears. It's essential that you get a couple of stitches into them. Nobody's ever going to know if you nailed those 2 little holes. But you want them tucked in enough that they don't show. Okay. Once everything's where you want it and you have all your holes lined up, you are ready to go. I'm just going to do a little dry mount here. Make sure that everything's tickety-boo. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top with my stitching, and then that way it's going to give me room to add a little batting when I get around to the left-hand side, and we're going to stitch through the body at the bottom. And you don't need to worry about the knot at the top because there's going to be a hat covering it, so you don't need to hide your thread. So again, with the running stitch, we're going to go in and out, up and down. And be careful with your thread. There's lots of things that are going to get snagged and in the way, and it's slow going at this point when you have all the clips and everything's not stitched together. But just be patient. Okay, so I'm up to the clip, so I'm getting my finger and my thumb as close as I can to hold everything in place while I add the stitches. And it's going to get a little bit harder to put the thread through because we're going to go through 3 layers of felt for the antlers and then 4 layers of felt when you get to the ears. So just be prepared that you're going to be pushing a little bit harder. And try and get a stitch or 2 into that ear before you take the clip off. It really helps. At this point, this is kind of where you need 5 pairs of hands to hold everything in place. Okay, and there we are. Antlers and ears done on one side. So again, continuing with the stitches, working our way around. And remember, you don't want to pull too hard. You don't want to tear this, but you want it firmly tight. And then when you get around this corner, we are going to start adding the body. 1 or 2 more stitches here. Okay, so lining up the body, and there are dots in the top of the body that you want to try, and it's a guide, but it's a good guide. I used it. Okay, so your stitches, and then you're going to start by going through the front leg. And then the next stitch is going to encompass the body. So starting at the back and then working your way through. Sometimes you have to lift the felt on the head just so that you can see where you are on the body and see if you're getting enough of the body and going through the dots, so to speak. I'm just happy to have the dots covered. I'm not too worried about whether I hit them to go through them or not. Okay, and get ready to tuck the next leg in just a little bit, and the leg will become a little bit more sturdy as it gets sewn into the head. Right now it's kind of flapping a little bit because I only put 1 stitch in it. Okay, and just keep adjusting as you go. Flipping back and forth to make sure you're lining up the holes. Okay, and I'm just sticking my finger in that opening there, and there's enough that I can get some batting in there without stretching anything. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of batting in there. Tiny, tiny little bit more. Do it a little bit at a time because this batting really does hold the felt out. You don't need very much for this. Okay, I'm happy with that. So back to repositioning my thread and then also repositioning that front left leg. Okay, making sure I hit my holes on both sides. This is the fiddly part, because now you're going through 4 layers of felt plus batting. Okay, I'm just trying to line my holes back up, get that leg in there. I'm going to grab it through a stitch and force it in with a needle. There. All right. And then back through. And we'll sew up the side of his head. The leg is not quite going where I want it to go, so I'm fiddling with it a little bit and trying to add another stitch in there to hold it in place. There we go. Okay, and then back and forth. You want to make sure that you've got nice long threads because you don't want to have to stop and do a knot and start partway through. So I've cut my thread on the long side for this. I'd rather have a little bit left over than have it to stop halfway through and hide a knot and start another knot and hide that. Not my idea of fun. So when you get your embroidery cotton, maybe get a couple of skeins. Okay, ready to remove a clip, and this ear causes me nothing but problems. The thing pops out, I can see the holes. This is 5 minutes of frustration that I actually cut out of most of it out of the video. It did not want to play nice. But we did finally get it. Okay. Trying to layer everything and hold it in place while I stick my needle back through it. There we go. Trying to hit the hole. Back over the antler. And then we're going to finish closing up his head. And so I've only gone around this once, and it was time consuming and frustrating, but the nice part is everything is now stitch in, so you need to go around again to do the running stitch and fill in the stitches, but it's a lot easier to do because everything's already in place. So I'm just tying my knot and we can move on. I'm not going to show you going back and forth with a second set of stitches. Isn't he cute? He's really cute. All right, so you need 2 red pieces for the hat, you need 2 of the brim, and you need 1 pom-pom. And I'm sorry, I have a new camera system, and I'm not quite used to where the sweet spot is in the center, so sorry when some of this is a little bit below the camera. You want to sew the front and the back on at the same time. That's the way I'm doing it anyway. If you find an easier way, let me know. So I'm lining it up. The cotton that I'm using is DMC 321. It was about the closest to match my red felt. And again, I'm going to use my binder clips just to hold things in place. And on this side, I'm going to start my thread. Okay, and I'm going to just put the tail inside the hat and run it through to the back, lining up the holes just to get this going. And I'm just checking the brim because I want to make sure that everything's going to look okay once you get the second layer on. So I'm happy with that. And again, I'm using my running stitch and I'm just going to work my way around this hat. Most of it's pretty easy going, but when you get down to the bottom, you're going to have to go through the head with the batting in it. Okay, so up to the top we are, and I've got 1 more stitch before I'm going to add my pom-pom. So I'm putting it in place. And then I want to make sure that I go through the holes of the pom-pom as well as both the holes in the hat. And I think there's 5 or 6 of them in there that you need to go through. Okay, and it's pretty easy. Like the felt kind of holds itself together. Just lining up the holes is the most difficult. Okay, and getting your thread unstuck from your binding clips. Working our way around. So then we're going to come down to the corner, we're going to turn, and we are going to stitch all the way through the head. So again, you just want to make sure that you've got a good grip on the hat. It's really only held on by a few stitches on the other side, but as you come down and you go through, you're going to go through the antler, and then you're going to go through part of the ears, and it's going to attach to the side of the head as well. Okay, and then working your way across the middle will get really easy because everything's already attached. Okay, so I'm switching over to 3 strands of white DMC thread, and we're going to put the brim of the hat on the front and the back at the same time. I'm just going to start my needle and then line up the back. So many things to hold on to. Once you get it lined up, it's okay though. It's just getting it started. And I'm not worrying about my tail because I am going to take a couple of dies, and I'll show you at the end. I take some holly dies from the snowman star, and I'm using that as a little bit of decoration in that right-hand corner over his ear. So that's why I'm not worrying about the thread hanging out there and the knot that's going to end up. Okay, so this is a little bit of slow going because of course you're going through the whole head, the cap, and the 2 pieces, and you're trying to line up those holes, so there's lots of back and forth, trying to keep it all in line, but it works. And again, you're going to go all the way around, and then you have to go all the way around a second time to fill in the rest of the stitches, and then just tie it off in a knot. So he's really adorable, but I decided I wanted to embellish him a little bit more. So you can see on the back, I have a little heart on his bum, and I have some holly up in the top left-hand corner, and in the top right-hand corner, more holly. And so I got that from the snowman star. There is a bunch of embellishments in this die set, and I'm just pointing at the 2 little holly leaves. And then there's 3 little berries, and they've got a hole in the center. And then there's 2 little berries that I cut and did an overlay, and I did those out of red and green felt. And just glued them on. Really quick and easy. Okay, so I decided to do a bow, and here's my dilemma. I have 4 bows. I have 2 sizes of red and white and 2 sizes of black. Which one do you think I should put on him? The skinny red, the thick red, the skinny black and white, or the wide black and white? Okay, so tell me in the comments underneath this video which one you think I should use. Number 1 is the skinny red and white. Okay, it goes with his little heart. Number 2 is the wide red and white. Number 3 is the skinny black and white. And number 4 is the wide black and white. I temporarily glued on the black and white skinny one just to do the pictures. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping in today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you will give this little reindeer a try. As you can see, he works great as a Christmas ornament. I put him in my tiered tray. He looks perfect in there.